Hello YouTube, and welcome back to my channel, Eddie in Reading Land. My name is Eddie, and today I'm gonna bring you the review of the Red Raven Tarot. Okay guys, so today I thought I would do my first review on TarotTube, and the review that I'm going to make it's a deck that I actually haven't seen anyone do a review on, or even a flip through of it. I'm sure there are videos out there, but if they are, I haven't seen any of them. But yeah, so today is the review and flip through of the Red Raven Tarot by Luong Vu Anh Duy. He is an Asian artist. I am not sure where they're from. The Kickstarter, this was a Kickstarter campaign that I backed last year. And a little backstory about this Kickstarter, so that you guys have information on Luong Vu. He's actually a very excellent artist. I think he's a graphic designer by trade, and he decided to create a tarot inspired by a spooky, mysterious vibe. And you're going to also notice that the colors are only black, white, a little bit of gray, and red. On the Kickstarter, he wrote that he was inspired by the colors of the red-billed crow. And if you haven't seen the bird, which I hadn't, you may want to Google it because it's actually a very beautiful bird. I didn't know that there was such a thing as a red-beaked crow, but it's beautiful. And so is the tarot, by the way. But yeah, like I was saying, I backed the Kickstarter last year, and it was actually pretty successful. I think that only 200 of the tarot were made, as is my understanding. But the campaign had its minor kerfuffles. Minor, I would say, because at least for me, it was resolved when I actually got the deck, which was actually it was faster than I thought it was going to. It was going to be. The deck was missing one of the cards, the Eight of Wands. And when I decided that I was going to reach out to the creator, Luong Vu, about it, he did say that there were actually various other people who were missing cards on their decks, and that he was working on it so that we could have the cards that were missing. Thankfully, my card was delivered, and I do have a complete deck of 79 cards, but I am not sure that all of the other backers got their cards. I hope they did, because this is a great tarot. I really like it. It's a little outside of my normal aesthetic, but it still holds a place in my collection, and I really like it. I already had the opportunity of working with the tarot, and it was joy. It was joy working with it, which is a little ironic considering that the tarot is actually mostly used, or was drawn, and the images depict a more shadow work sort of deck, in which it is a more shadow work sort of deck, definitely. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. I do have some notes, just so that I get myself structured and centered and talk about everything that I wanted to talk about. But let's see. Vuong did say that he was inspired by eyes and eye symbology. This to represent the view of the reflection of life in our body, soul, and mind. When we go through the flip through of the deck, you're going to see a lot of eyes and a lot of very mesmeric and non-traditional sort of imagery for the tarot. I particularly like it. It has a very macabre sort of feel to it that it was so delectable and delicious to work with that it really expanded my idea of shadow work beyond what I already had as a practice of shadow work. So I'm definitely grateful for this deck for that as well, because a practice that I deem important, such as shadow work and confronting our shadow, confronting our complex, confronting our fears, was made so much more vivid and fun, and it was a great experience. It was a great experience working with the tarot. It definitely is not a daily draw sort of tarot. I did do daily draws with it while I was working with the cards, and the messages tend to be more direct. They tend to be very short, let's say it that way. This deck is a deck that goes straight to the point. I feel it was designed for that, to just cut through everything and just deliver a message. So my journaling for that time was actually a bit less expansive than what I usually do. So yeah, overall, I think that the deck just allows you to confront yourself with a very welcoming, passive feeling, even though the cards could be a little bit aggressive some of the time. I will definitely point that out on the cards that I feel that do that once we do the flip through. But yeah, I am uncertain if you're able to still purchase this deck, but if I do get a link for Luong Vu's store, I will definitely put it in the description down below, because this is a worth the investment sort of deck. I'm very happy with it. Like I said, the artwork falls out of my comfortability. But yeah, just as happy to work with it as any other tarot deck for that matter. But okay, so that was my thoughts on the tarot. Now we are going to go through and check out the cards. And just to let you know, the cards came in this clamp, sort of very sturdy box. I'm going to show it over here because it opens like this. And as you can see, we are first confronted with the backs of the cards. There's just a splash of color. The artwork was made with ink. So the line work is extremely important to the tarot. You can definitely see the strokes of the ink as Luong Vu was designing the cards. It's very well thought out. It's very well developed. So yeah. So like I said, it comes in a very sturdy box, and it does come with a little white book, but it actually doesn't have a lot of information for the cards. And I think that they're in English, and oh no, they're only in English. I thought it was also going to be in another language, but it isn't. He has changed some of the names for the majors and the court cards, but I'll get to those when I start with the flip through. Okay, so I know that cardstock is important, so we'll just look at that next. Cardstock is actually very sturdy, not very flexible. You could riffle shuffle this deck. I tried and I was successful, but I am not going to do that because of various things. As you can see, the cards are square edged and not round edged. I'm just afraid that I'm going to damage the cards if I do that, so I just straight up use my hands to shuffle the deck, or even make small piles, just so that I don't damage the card. The cardstock is actually really good. It's very sturdy paper. It's matte, so I love that. But yeah, okay. Let's see. Let's turn this over because they do have a side. So there we go. So remember what Luong Vu said about the imagery of the eye? Here it is. This is the title card of the deck. It is very confronting, as you guys can see. Even this eye is such a beautiful piece of artwork. But you can also see the ink as it goes from more concentrated to diluted. It's just beautiful. Okay, let's see. So he did start with the juggler or the magician instead of the fool. There is no explanation as to why he did that, but here is the magician. Also, as you can see, the cards are horizontal, and I think the cards are upside down. Let me see if I can. There we go. I think that's best. Can we jump to the Popess instead of the High Priestess? Again, the eyes on tarot are just, well, this eye actually looks a little bit jealous, or it tends to look a little bit jealous when I see it. But you can see that even with the Popess, there is a sense of eeriness to the deck. And here we have the Empress. I like how the Empress is just a couple of eyes with a hatchling in between. The Emperor. Such an aggressive sort of energy, but it doesn't portray any violence. The Pope instead of the Hierophant. He looks a bit more, he looks actually a bit manipulative for a Hierophant. So we have the Lover instead of the Lovers. I like the sort of nod to Cupid. The Chariot. I love this Chariot. It feels like there's movement, and you're being carried, and burdens are being carried away from you. Justice. Very traditional Justice. Just a little bit more erratic in energy. So here we have Death. No, I'm sorry. This is the Hermit. And the Wheel of Fortune. We have blank eyes on the Wheel of Fortune. I like that. You can see the sort of different energies over here. One black, one white. Sort of reminds me of the yin yang. We have force instead of strength. You know that the as I mentioned on one of my past videos, the strength card is one of my go-to cards to look for in the deck, and I actually really enjoy this one. I like how the shadows are trying to tame this beast. I mean, even the web that they're using is filled with eyes, so that's pretty impressive. So we have the Hanged One instead of the Hangman, which at this point I think it just should be called the Hangman. I mean the Hang One. Just so that we have a gender neutral experience with the Hang One. This is Death. Great depiction of the Death card. You can see the decay. You can see the nothingness in Death. I love how the red color is showing up on this video. It's very bright, and actually in the tarot, once you have it close to you, it's a little bit darker. So I'm really enjoying this light and this red for that. This is the Temperance card. The Devil, one of the other cards that I look for in a deck, and this Devil doesn't disappoint. I love how mad he looks. Reminds me of the Cheshire Cat. The Tower, a very traditional sort of tower. You can even see interference and disturbances in the energies. I like that. The Star. I like how abstract the star is, and I say the same thing about the Moon. I really enjoy that he made this moon an eye, and also the abstract feeling of the sun just gives you a very different sort of energy for the sun. Not of happiness, but it's a strong energy, fiery energy coming from the sun. So Judgment becomes Trumpet. And it's a scarier image of a already scary image anyway. But there it is, Trumpet. And then we have the World. I like how the world is contained within that wreath, that circle. And I like how the world is a structure as well. It's just something very different than the Dancer that we're used to seeing in most tarots. And here's the Fool. And this is, I believe, the only card that most resembles a person in the whole deck. It's very fascinating that it's the Fool and not any other of the cards. And it's also fascinating that the Fool is at the end of the major arcana, not at the beginning. But it is actually called the Madman. Okay, now we go to the suits. And here we have the Ace of Wands. I like how there's still some sort of potential of energy here. And the Two of Wands. So, and I'm going to quote from another one of my favorite, I'm going to quote from one of my favorite YouTubers. These are pips with feelings, and I really, really enjoy that. The Two of Wands here with that book over there. I'm a bookworm, so I really enjoy when cards have books on it. The Three of Wands. The Four of Wands. I like how in the three you can see there's a nest with baby chicks. And on the Five of Wands, you see what I assume are the adult version of those chicks. It just seems very tense, even though the birds are not really fighting. Here we have the Six of Wands. There's a sense of victory with that fiery flower. Seven of Wands. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is the Six of Wands. What am I saying? Six of Wands. Now this is the Seven of Wands. And this is the infamous Eight of Wands that was missing from my deck that I thankfully got because it is beautiful. I love how the wolves are just going in between the trees as if running away or actually preying on something. That's pretty cool. Here we have the Nine of Wands. The Ten of Wands, which every time I look at this card it makes me feel very minimal, very minute, very small. I started identifying with the rabbit and the bird in the tree. It just seems so small in this big forest. Okay, so we have what would be the Page of Swords, but this one is called the Rod of Pages. And then we have the Rod Knight. I like how the horse is coming out of the eye into the tree, as if preparing to strike the wand. That's pretty cool. And here we have the Queen of Rods. As you can see, she's holding a flower on her mouth. It's almost as if she is deciding not to talk instead of saying something that she shouldn't. And here is the King of Rods. I like how he's growing wands out of his entire head. That's pretty cool. And now we go to the sword suit, which is my favorite suit, guys, by the way, the swords. And I really, really like this Ace of Swords. It is sort of traditional to the Rider-Waite, because you can see there's some sort of greenery and a crown, which is very usual for the Ace of Swords. But the energy is actually a lot more aggressive and a lot more disturbing. Following on with the Two of Swords, and I think that Luong Vu has made a really good Two of Swords depicting the indecision and not making up our minds. The Three of Swords, which is more numerological than I see Rider-Waite-Smith. I think this card depicts a sort of naive sort of energy. Instead of gathering information, we're deciding to be ignorant and naive. I like this. I like this shadow aspect of the Three of Swords. Then we move on to the Four of Swords. The eyes closed, as if in rest or sleeping. And it has woken up in the Five of Swords. And I don't know if you guys can see, but there are foxes in the image. Foxes are tricksters in most Asian myths. I just think that it's very appropriate for them to be in a 5, especially in a 5 of Swords. Moving on to the 6. And here we have the 7. I like how the eye is looking to the side as if lying. The 8 of Swords. Even though is not a cage, I still feel like the eyes are somehow being obstructed. The 9 of Swords. I like this depiction of the 9 of Swords. I like how the sword is piercing the brain. It just makes me think of fear and nightmares and anxiety. So I really like this depiction of the 9 of Swords. And here we have the 10 of Swords. And none of these swords are piercing the brain, allowing the brain to actually breathe. So I like that. Here we have the Sword of Pages. And this is one of the cards that I find most disturbing in the deck. Those faces and those eyes. I think it's the multiple expressions and the multiple faces in the eyes that I find most disturbing in this card. I relate the Page of Swords as a need for me to be focused in something more important, and this actually takes the focus away from that. So I think that's why I find it most disturbing. And here we have our Sword Knight, which is the most savage and aggressive of the cards being depicted here. This is actually, I believe, the only card that has detached limbs being depicted. Here we have the Queen of Swords. I believe that all of the queens are actually related to speech or talking, because I think every one of the queens has the either the sword or the rod in their mouth. And here we have the King of Swords, completely unaware and undisturbed by the fact that he has a sword on his head, piercing through his head. Just fascinating. Now we move on to the cups. I like the abundance of the Ace of Cups here. Even though the energy seems toxic instead of benevolent. Here we have the Two of Cups. And I like that there's an anatomical heart in between the cups. It's sort of makes me feel or makes me think about love in the Two of Cups, but to what extent, right? Here we have the Three of Cups. I like the white color in the background, how he left it just white space. Here we have the Four of Cups, depicting a home or house. The Five of Cups. Instead of grief, the card seems to be depicting more depression, how we feed into it, and how we feed others with our depression. Depression is a real problem, guys. I think that Luong Vu did a really good job depicting that here. The Six of Cups. Even though the cups are harmonious together, it doesn't seem to there doesn't seem to be a harmony to them as well. It's very weird. The Seven of Cups. It feels as though the other 6 cups have decided to be away from the one different cup. The one individual cup that decided to be different. We make a choice and others may not like it. The Eight of Cups. I like how these 2 cups seem to be confronting each other. The Eight of Cups. 9 of Cups. Doesn't seem very cheery. And the 10 of Cups over here. As if some sort of force is pulling the liquid out and up from the cups. So here we have the Cup of Pages, again with the various figures in the background. Well, these ones are very amorphous, but still there. The Cup Knight. Doesn't scream romance to me. Feels more like it's running away from something. The Queen of Cups. Oh, this one doesn't have the suit on her mouth. It just seems to be contemplating which one to drink. And the King of Cups. It feels like the cup is the unconscious that he's either listening too much to it or ignoring it for something else. I like this. This is very ambiguous. I really enjoy that. Now we move on to the coins. And the text on the Ace of Coins reads, and let me just get the guidebook says that the text in the Ace of Coins card summarizes that the direction of the eye will be the direction of the card. Okay, which gives us no information as to what its text says, but it's very hard to read that because he created a whole new letter script for the tarot. So I'm sure that at one point I will learn it and be able to read it, but at this point I'm unable to. It was fun because when I was using the deck, I didn't get this card, so I didn't really make an effort to see what it said. But I still like the depiction of the coin. I mean, the eye in the coin, it's just... The eye looks actually a little angry. Here we have the Two of Coins, again with more text on it, but very traditional for a Marseille deck. 3 of coins. Oh, I love that he depicted, bees. I want to say bees, but they're probably wasps in the 3 of coins. Here we have the 4 of coins, and we have locked our resources instead of sharing them. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the ace of coins didn't have the text, and yet the other coins do. Here we have the 5 of coins. I usually read the 5 of coins as poor decision making. This just gives me a very strong vibe of stop, don't do it. Okay, and here we have the 6 of coins, sort of depicting an exchange, but probably not a very beneficial exchange. And here we have the 7 of coins. I don't see any growth, but I do see some fruit over here. So there has been some sort of growth, but just probably not the one that we expected. And here we have our 8 of coins. I really, really, really enjoy this 8 of coins. He did a really good job making the eyes, all of the eyes, appear to be looking straight at you, as if asking you for discipline or asking you for skill, demanding it. We have the 9 of coins. The 10 of coins. Okay, here we have the coin of pages. Uncertain why there are 2 coins in this, like in the Queen of Cups, where there were 2 cups as well. But I have a theory that this page of coins is meant to depict resources from one that has too much being moved into something that has too little. Here we have our coin knight. I really, really like the depictions of the wolves here. Wolves or maybe another canine. I like wolves, so I see wolves here. Here we have the Queen of Coins. And finally, the King of Coins. Which again, for some reason, seems contemplative. Okay, guys, so there you have it. Those are the cards. As you can see, the art is very weird. It's meant to be weird, and it definitely does challenges you as a tarot reader, because the artwork is not depicting your usual Marseille or your usual Rider-Waite-Smith. It sort of kind of does its own thing, but I found that is, while working with it, is actually very very profound, and another sort of experience and another sort of point of view that you need to bring to your practice when you're using this tarot. But I hope that you guys, that I've convinced you to at least give a deck this deck or a deck like this a try. I feel like sometimes getting out of our comfort zone and looking for something different can be extremely beneficial to our practice, especially if we're feeling that we are stagnating and that we need a little bit of a disturbance or something creepy or something that makes us want to work for our interpretations of the cards. This was a Red Raven Tarot by Luong Vu Anh Duy. I hope that you guys like the tarot. Let me know in the comments below which cards you like best, or if you like the cards. If you have any other recommendations on a deck that looks like this that we all could be interested in, please let us know as well. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. Bye bye, YouTube. Thank you.